Okay.
Hi, everyone. Good evening from wherever you're joining us. It is so good to have you here with us. Please confirm that you can hear me and you can see me by dropping your name and where you're joining us from. Hi, Victor. Hi, Adiola Idowu. Hi, Adekoya. Good evening, everyone. Good evening from this side of the world. Please, you can mute your mic if you're not talking yet. Hi, Rosemary. Oh, thank you. You can hear me. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Please let's keep the chat coming in. Let's know your name. Okay, we know your name. Let's know where you're joining us from. We would love to see if you are with us from Nigeria, from South Africa, wherever you are in the world. We'd love to hear from you. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. It is an honor to have you all here. Hi, James. Hi, hi. James, where are you joining us from? I'm joining from Lagos, Nigeria. Let's keep it coming in the chat. Let's keep it coming in the chat. Hi, Victor, joining from Enugu State. So good to have you all here. Let's keep the chat coming. Before we start, here for the cybersecurity and privacy law. It's going to be an exciting time with the speakers that are available to, you know, share their experiences, their knowledge. Hello, Victor, joining us from Makodi, Benue State. Hi, Melody, all the way from Ghana. Hello, hello, hello. It's good to see you. It's good to have you here. Hi, Faith, joining from Lagos, Nigeria. Hi, Nosa. It's good to have you all here. Thank you, thank you. Let's keep it coming. Let's keep it coming. I want us to have, a number of people here before we dive into the discussion for today. Hello, Vivian. It's good to have you here from Ekiti State. Good to have you here. 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 Hi, Tijani. Absolute pleasure to be hosting you. I can see Tijani is from YouTube. So I'm going to be recognizing my audience from YouTube and from LinkedIn. It's good to have you here. My people on YouTube, on LinkedIn, we are happy to have you. All right. All right. So while we expect more people to join us, um, let's just take a little step to know who our speakers are. Hi, Miriam, my sister. I can see you. Thank you for joining for Kano, Nigeria. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so we have amazing speakers this evening. When I had the idea of doing this particular series, I thought it is going to be important and going to be beneficial for all my audience, my community, to hear from other experts in this field. They're not just experts, they are thriving and doing really well. Hello from Lagos, Nigeria. It's good to have you here. So our speakers are here to share their knowledge, share their experience. It's going to be practical. I remember mentioning that this session is not about um, the what the cybersecurity law, blah blah blah, the regulation, all those theoretical part of it. It is about practical part of what cybersecurity and data privacy is. Hello, Olu, Wale. It's good to have you from UK. Oh, so nice to have you here. So it's going to be practical. What do we have when it comes to cybersecurity and privacy law? How can we break into it? What should we expect from a lawyer in this field? What does a day in the life of a cybersecurity expert or a privacy lawyer looks like? What do you expect to see from all this? Good to see you. Good to see you. So this is what we're going to be discussing in this series. So it's going to be practical, practical, practical. So get ready your questions to ask our speakers. They are ready to entertain all your questions, and get ready to ride and vibe with us today. So just a brief introduction of our speakers, because ordinarily we already shared their profile. But for people that did not see the profile or were unable to read the profile, just a brief introduction, because these people, they are worth celebrating. They've dedicated some years, so many years of their life to, to enter and break into this field successfully. And now they are here to lead you. They are here to take you by your hands through this journey so that you don't waste time, so that you don't feel lost, so that you don't feel unnecessarily pressured. So before we do that, let me just say welcome, talkers on YouTube from Lagos, Nigeria. It's good to have you all here. So our first speaker, the delectable and powerful Opeyemi Ajakaye Mako. Opeyemi Ajakaye Mako is a cybersecurity compliance analyst, legal and technical background, function, and security frameworks. Opeyemi is also actively supporting legal professionals who are looking to transition into cybersecurity and privacy law. I can attest to this. I've been under a seminar or a webinar, and she's actually a bundle of knowledge. She's a bundle of knowledge and experience. So please, let's celebrate Opeyemi in the comments. Celebrate her, clap for us, use your emoji. Let's just celebrate her as much as we can. She's an absolute expert and a knowledgeable person in this field. Thank you, Opeyemi, for joining us. We know it is not easy to commit yourself to coming and speaking to us here, but we appreciate your dedication. We appreciate your presence here. Thank you so very much. And to the next speaker, we have John Ajayi, the powerful man in the midst of these awesome and beautiful ladies. John Ajayi is a data privacy and cybersecurity lawyer, and he currently serves as a member of the IT Security Governance Committee of the Interconnect Clearinghouse Nigeria Limited. And he plays a key role in shaping the company's data protection framework and compliance strategy. Trust me, our speakers are experienced. Please, let's welcome John Ajayi today as he joins us for this particular session. Please join, just clap your hands, use your favorite emoji. Let's celebrate him. Let's celebrate him. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here, sir. And to the last speaker, but not the least.
Thank you very much.
Not the least at all, because we're talking about the powerful Nana. I call her Lady Nana. So Ikyo Nana Ezekiel is a privacy expert who has acted as contract data protection officers with outstanding fintech and medtech companies. She was named as a rising force in data protection in 2024 by tech-minded lawyers community and has the Trailblazer Awards. I would say that Nana is one person that I appreciate so much. Her dedication to privacy law, is second to none. I have seen her, I saw her started, I'm seeing her grow, and I'm happy to see where she is right now. It is an absolute pleasure to have you here, Nana. Please, let's appreciate Nana. Let's clap for her. Let's celebrate her. She's here to share her experience and knowledge with us. It is an absolute pleasure to have you. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Please clap.
Hi.
Please clap.
Thank you
And
so much for having
hi,
me here. It's a
Nana.
pleasure. Hi.
It's a pleasure. And to the host who needs no introduction, I'm feeling myself. I am Oladayo
Yeah.
Akimokon. It's not easy to pull this kind of people together. Pulling powerful strongholds like Okpe, Nana, and John. No, 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 it's not easy. So please, I think I deserve an accolade. I am Oladayo Akimokon, the cyber lawyer. I'm dedicated to helping young lawyers, law students break into this field. I'm dedicated to helping lawyers, build a personal brand on LinkedIn, everywhere you are. So that is why we are here. My commitment to this particular field instigated or inspired this session, this series. So it's an absolute honor that I called you and you all responded. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. So without further ado,
Pleasure
having
to have you.
introduced our speakers to us, it is about time to delve into why we are here today. I'm sure by now you must have seen our flyers and understood the fact that the topic for consideration this evening is what we titled "Why Can't I Break into Cybersecurity and Privacy Law?" There are many reasons why you can't break into cybersecurity and privacy law. It could be knowledge issue, it could be information issue, it could be, you just don't trust yourself enough to break into this field. Those are things that we are going to be addressing in this session. And we hope that you all have a wonderful time with us. Don't forget to, invite your friends, remind them the session has started. Remind them that the session has started. All right. So, by way of introduction, I would ask our speakers to just give us what a brief overview of what cybersecurity law is and what privacy law is. I will start with the man of the hour, John Ajayi. Can you please tell us? We understand that you are a cybersecurity expert and
Oh,
a lawyer. As a
good
matter of
evening,
fact, you
everyone.
have a LLM from the University of Lagos. So, can you tell us what cybersecurity law means? Thank you.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you
Hello,
clearly.
can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes, we
Yeah, we
Oh,
can.
can
We
hear
can.
you.
fantastic. So, yeah, good evening. All right. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. To be very honest, I think it takes a lot to put this kind of crowd together. Particularly honored to be here. So, to get to why we are here. So, essentially, cybersecurity law essentially is about information security, policies, legislation that actually governs the security of data, information systems, and computer networks. And that's actually, let's say, the basic way I actually give you definition. So basically, looking at information security, systems, and computer networks. So you're talking about policies, talking about regulations, you're talking about the um, policy infrastructure, um, stuff that actually governs it essentially. So these are actually varied. There are some that are, they apply in countries what we call regional frameworks, and there are some that actually solely, they are not actually laws per se, but they are regulations within different sectors. So cybersecurity law encompasses the law that governs this. For instance, data protection is a core aspect of cybersecurity law because what cybersecurity is about, information security, data is actually information. So without data protection, what we're in cybersecurity is actually nothing. So cybersecurity law actually goes around the protection of these systems, ensuring that sensitive information is kept confidential, not people that don't should not have access to it, don't have access to it, ensuring that data is actually accurate, the integrity of it, and ensuring that it's available when needed to those who have the right and the authorization to access it. So essentially, that's cybersecurity law.
John, thank you. Thank you. So the same question me. Can you give us an overview of what cybersecurity law is before we move to Nana, who will tell us what data privacy law is about?
Okay, thank you very much, Oladayo. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, thank you, John. Hello everyone, and thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here, to be honest. Okay, so John already said a lot, so I'm just going to add a few things to what he has said. Starting with what is cybersecurity actually like? What is the term itself before going to the definition of the law, right? So when we say cybersecurity, we are talking about digital information, we're talking about systems, and we're talking about how to actually protect such information and the systems from unauthorized access, like you said. So when we're talking about unauthorized access, most of us then know we know that term, right, as hackers, right? In cybersecurity, we refer to them as bad actors, and not just the bad actors, but also any malicious activity that can compromise such information. So now when you're talking about the law itself, right, that means we are talking about the legal framework. What are the laws guiding cybersecurity? What are the practices, the art, right, the regulations that actually guides cybersecurity? So that's what I can add. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Okoyemi. You would notice that they both have been hammering on three core concepts, which is I would call it the pillar that cybersecurity, relies on: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So, what cybersecurity law entails is the regulation that are designed to protect our cyber assets, our networks, our infrastructures, to ensure that they are not compromised, to ensure that confidentiality is maintained, availability is maintained, integrity of information is maintained. So when it comes to cybersecurity law, we are talking about the regulations that affect this purpose, and our speakers have explicitly explained that to us. Now to Nana, can you tell us what privacy law is about?
Hello, hello everyone.
Yes, I can hear you. We can hear you.
Hello, can you?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, once again, thank you so much for this opportunity. Now, okay, so thank you so much for having me here. It's a total pleasure to be here. The beautiful thing about being the last to speak is you can use what the Court of Appeal does to adopt the reasoning of the earlier people. But to make it easy for us, I would say thank you for making it easy for laying the background. So from my aspect of data protection and privacy, these are two concepts that people have continuously asked me what's the difference between these two. So I'm going to make it as simple as I can make it, which is that when you talk about data protection, it focuses primarily on the measures and the mechanisms that are used to implement safeguards against data. I mean, data breach or loss in itself. What to do with empowering individuals, that's the data subject, you and I, on this call, to make decisions as to who would have access to handle or that's in quote and unquote process their personal data and for whatever purpose that it is. So in practice, we look at what happens in the UK and in the US because it is because of that data protection, data privacy. That's where the dichotomy came from. But in Nigeria, we tend to use both interchangeably. So for the US, they will say privacy laws. Then for the UK and EU you come across data protection, the term data protection a lot. So historically, the difference between them is more historical than in practice. But what we have in practice, especially in Nigeria, we tend to use both either interchangeably or together, or to mean one and the same thing. Then when it comes to the laws, these are the laws that ensures that the rights of these data subjects are upheld, the laws that stipulate what these rights are, they go as far as stating them one after the other, and has the obligations to ensure that these rights are being enforced or enforceable by the individuals, quote and unquote, data subjects. So in the course of my discussion, if I mention data subjects, just know I'm talking about the individual. That is you who is listening to me on this call right now. So that would be it. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Justice Nana. Thank you for that explanation. So right now, I think we all know what cybersecurity law is and what data privacy law is, and we can actually distinguish, right? But I would say this: when we talk both of them, cybersecurity and privacy, they work hand in hand. You would find, because what cybersecurity is all about is protection of information, infrastructure, network system. Now, so there's cybersecurity up, there's data privacy taking shield under it. So that's why it is very easy for somebody like John Ajayi to say, I'm a cybersecurity and data privacy law expert, because they are like brothers and sisters. If cybersecurity law is going, privacy is following it. And that's why myself and Nana, we can connect well when we are discussing, because it is actually a subset of, so having established security and privacy is, I would, all of us here, myself, they're all lawyers. So, and the thing they taught us in law school, I don't think they taught me. It's not, I don't think. I know they did not teach me cybersecurity law in law school. Neither did they. Neither did they teach me in my university. And I don't know if they did teach Nana and Okpe and John in their own, law school and uni. I don't know. But for me, they didn't teach me. But I find myself doing it right now. I find myself talking about cybersecurity law, data privacy. I find myself, speaking to people about it, advocating for it, and all that. I want to know, behind the scene, how did you find yourself in this field? For Nana, how did you find yourself in privacy law? For Okpe, how did you find yourself in cybersecurity at all? How? Like, what's the difference? How did you move from the traditional litigation, civil litigation, criminal litigation, corporate law that they taught us, property law that they taught us in law school? How did you move from that into cybersecurity? Our audience they want to hear from you. They want to know, how did you move into it? What spurred that desire? And how were you able to successfully, what I call it transition, but how are you able to successfully transition into this field of law? I would call Okpe first. Please go ahead.
Okay, Oladaye, thank you. Okay, so for me, my journey is a little different in the sense that I'm not currently into cybersecurity law, in quotes. I'm actually into cybersecurity, right? Yes, I'm a lawyer. Yes, you can consult me, right? If you have cybersecurity related cases, but you won't see me wearing my wig and gown to go to the court to talk about cybersecurity law or to defend a client on cybersecurity law. Okay, so what brought me here, right? Um, there was a time I thought about, I've seen practice, right? It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And I was also interested in starting a family. And of course, I know that that won't be possible with our usual having to leave the home early, get to court before 9. Then sometimes you even have to travel out of jurisdiction, right? So that wasn't playing too well for me. especially when I wanted to start my family. Also, I was looking at international opportunities, and of course, we all know that law is territorial. That means I have to, if I'm to travel out of the country, if I'm looking towards international opportunities, that means I actually have to study law, study that country's law, right, to be able to practice again. So that was why I just started my own research. Okay, what can I do? What tech skills can I actually acquire, right, to upskill? And luckily for me, I came across a post talking about a cybersecurity program. Oladaye is actually from the program also, right? Cyber Girls by Cyber Safe Foundation. So that was the first training I did on cybersecurity, and since then, right, I've done one or two trainings also on cybersecurity, and I've slowly transitioned into cybersecurity. So now, what? Let me just give you a sort of view, right, into what I do currently. So now, if you are to ask me what I do daily, you
Uh,
see me talking about.
okay,
Can you hear me?
okay.
Yes,
Don't,
yes. Am
before
I
you go
moving
into what
ahead?
you do daily, there's a question about it. There's a question
Okay,
about it.
okay.
Don't let us. Let's be
Okay. So
sensible
am I
first.
good? Am I good to hand over to another
Yeah, you're
person?
good. You're good.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
All right. We are coming to that because you're going to tell us a day in the life of a cybersecurity compliance expert. Um, Nana, can we hear from you? Tell us the story.
Okay.
How did you go about data privacy?
Okay. Thank you so much for that. And for me, it started with the community I used to work with, the strictly law business community. I used to work with them as their business manager and social media manager. Immediately after my law school, I'd not been called to bar yet at that time, so I started my during my NYC. I joined them shortly after my call to bar. So they started talking about the need for alternative areas of practice. A particular conference that talked about the rapidly evolving aspects of law. And when I listened to some of the speakers, uh, I listened to We Law. I don't know if you know We Law. I listened to Moyi and Odiagewere. I promise I murdered that name, but I promise let him forgive me for doing that. So I came across him. I came across other professionals that were doing amazing things. And they were not talking about litigation, commercial law practice. They were talking about evolving areas of law. I heard things like water law. I was like, where is water law? I know of space law. I know of cyber security, but I didn't even know that they were evolving areas like water law and data protection and privacy. So that was the first time I heard of it. Once I heard of it, there was another training that came up with you as lawyers, the lawyers that own the next generation are the lawyers that niche down. That's okay. Niche really? What does that mean? So I was already very, very interested in information technology because in my university days, I did introduction of computer to law. And I also did a course titled Cybersecurity Law. I actually did it as a course, cybercrime. I did cybercrime as a course in my 200 level.
We need to know that
So
your
those
skills.
areas already, sorry, what did you
Then
say?
we need
Ola,
to
I
know
didn't
that
hear
your
you.
skills. We need to know your skills. Which school is that?
It's Niger Delta University. Niger Delta University does cybersecurity law. It does computer introduction to in two as compulsory course. So you have to do it. Everybody had to do it. Yeah. From that background I had, I already knew that I wanted to be in information technology space. Then there came something after that. I found out that it was so broad. Like information technology itself was so broad. Then I came across cybersecurity, data analysis, media law. I said, this one is plenty. Oh. So I started looking for an area again in between that thing I'd already liked. And I came across Olusesi, legal tech bro. And he was not talking about data protection and privacy. I also this really, really prominent professor of law in terms of privacy laws in the US, Daniel Solove. If you have not known of Daniel Solove and you are a privacy advocate, please go and find Daniel Solove. Here on LinkedIn, you'll see him. You probably came across him and I studied. And I found out that personally, I am someone that likes my private space. So I like it when people don't barge into me all the time. My privacy is very, very, I like big spaces. Like, it's not claustrophobia, but I like big spaces. Any place is open enough, but it's still my own space. So I found out that it's something that goes well with my person. I don't like people intruding into my space, into my gist, and all the rest. So it became something very unique to me. That was how I picked it. Like, okay, this one is for me. Let me embrace it with my full chest. And I studied and I did everything I could. I connected, I networked to read one. I networked to Lucas. I sent him a message. I told him that please, I need you to keep this message in your inbox. The day I blow, I'll come and tell you I made you proud. But you were one of those reasons. So I networked to people and I studied. That was how this I found myself in privacy space.
Thank you. That was a sweet journey. Thank you. You took us through from uni down to where you are right now. Thank you so much. So, John, let's hear your own story too.
Hey, John has left us.
Your story, John. You're back now. John, can you hear me? If you're talking, we can't hear you. John, can you hear me? All right. So while we are waiting for John to tell us his own story, his own behind the scene of what he's doing now. Well, I think most of us here, if you follow me on LinkedIn, you would know my story. Cybersecurity law. It came because of what I decided in my art. I wasn't taught cybersecurity law in school. I think the closest I did to computer science was one computer science course. I've forgotten how they even IT law. But the IT law was not even IT law because what they were teaching us was not IT law. They were teaching us binary system, blah blah blah. I was like, oh. So we were not introduced to, you know, cybersecurity per se or tech law per se. I don't know. Am I still here? Can you still hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Can
Yes,
you
we
hear
can
me?
hear you. We can hear
All
you.
right.
Yeah, we can. We can.
So my story was just like that. But I knew in my art, as soon as I got to 400, 500 level, as at 300 level, I was just taking, all those elective courses, intellectual property. At some point, intellectual property was my thing. I said, oh, I'm doing intellectual property. But I don't know. I'm just that kind of person who will not really want to. I don't really want to do what many people are doing. For me, I would say I'm like countercultural. When other people are going like this, I'm going somewhere else. I just like exploring things that are scarcely tapped, and that's how I got into cybersecurity. So when I got to law school, the truth is I shut down any kind of distraction in law school because I said I really do not want to start distracting myself. I got a lesson from a senior who told me that, see, she's doing entertainment law, she's known now, but she said she started at the wrong time. She was doing it when she was in law school, when she was supposed to focus on law school. So, well, she didn't fail, but she didn't come out with the desired grade, the desired result, which is painful to her even as of now. So she advised me that whatever you want to do, let it be after law school. You can figure these things out. There is no late coming or late comer when it comes to picking a niche or trying to establish yourself in a particular area of law. So I held on to that advice. But in my heart, in my mind, I knew that I was not going to do those kind of any common law practice. I knew I wanted to be known for something unique, something different. So immediately after law school, when I got back to base, after law school, you know, most people would say I'm not reading. In fact, even poster, I'm not going to read it. And even signboard, I'm not going to read it. It was not the case for me. As soon as I got back, after my bar finals, got back to my base, I started exploring. I took courses, blockchain, took courses, arbitration, took courses, cybersecurity was one of the courses I took. And it was from that particular course I decided, I think I like this area of law. But the way that course was, I took that course on storage with White and Case. Law firm. I took that course with them on cybersecurity law. But their focus was actually on privacy because the scenario that we worked on was there was a breach, but the area that they were focused on was on privacy. But nevertheless, I took that course and that opened my eyes to cybersecurity law. Unfortunately for me, I met cybersecurity foundation. So I just posted on a status. What status? This particular organization is taking a
Hello,
video.
Daya. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Your voice is
Okay,
very
so
fast.
yes, yes.
Oh, very, very fast. Oh, that's network. What about now? Is it still the same thing?
It's still the same.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Still the same thing.
Uh, what about now? I'm switching in between networks from MTN to Airtel. None of them is giving me what I want. But is it better now?
For now, it's still the same. It's still the same.
What have you done? Uh, um, well, let me just try to keep talking. You know. So, as I was saying, I decided to apply to Cybersecurity Foundation. And from there, I got my training in cybersecurity. I got exposed to the foundation. Then I got to
Yep.
Okay, I think she dropped off.
Yeah. I think the network knocked her out a bit. So let's just give her a few minutes. Probably she'll reload and come back.
Yeah, sure.
um, can you guys
Okay,
hear
you're
me?
back.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. I can hear you. And it's perfect now.
All right. All right. Thank you. So sorry for the network glitch. That's what we experience in Nigeria. We can't absolutely trust our network. But we make do what we have.
Okay, Oladaya, you're having the same issue. It's fast.
Okay. Okay. What can I do? I don't know. Can you still hear
Yes, Oladayo, we can hear you. Yes, I'm in Nigeria. Somebody was asking if I'm in Nigeria. Yes, I'm in Nigeria. You don't want Oladayo to blame Nigeria, right? Yes, I'm in
Oh,
Nigeria, and I'm using MTN currently.
okay. Um, let's start again. Thank you. From you too. Thank you for giving us out.
Okay, guys, since my hostess and my co-speakers are having issues, perhaps I can just use this opportunity to just tell you about my a glimpse into my life, right, as a GLC analyst. Oladayo, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. Oh, thank God.
Yes.
Hallelujah. Okay. Okay.
So sorry, everyone. So sorry. My network is really showing me Pepe. So,
Yeah.
John, can we just have you tell us your story briefly too?
Yes. Yes. So can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Let me
Wait,
assume.
wait, wait.
Let me assume everyone. I wouldn't know if anyone can hear me. Yeah.
We can
Can you
hear
hear me?
you.
We
Oh,
can hear
Yes,
you
can hear you.
perfectly. We can hear you.
yeah. Sorry, my my network. So, privacy and cybersecurity actually started, say, a month after law school. When I finished law school, um, my cousin who's actually a partner, and they needed somebody to work on their website and to market it for them. At that point, I joined the firm virtually, and fast forward, because to be honest, I might say I'm the youngest at the bar amongst the speakers. So fast forward, my virtual work, the NDPA came out. And my work actually essentially is to create content for the law firm. Of course, he covered other things like preparing arguments and briefs and all that, but I was working virtually. So I started focusing on creating content on the NDPA. It came out in June of 2023. And I created a series and I read it so much that I actually knew a lot, a lot in that document. And I wouldn't, I at that point, I wouldn't know if I was going to need it in future, but I was really interested in it. So fast forward a few months later, I was leaving that law firm. I was looking for an in-house role, and then I went for an interview. And in that interview, that you needed to know data protection or data privacy, or that they were looking for a DPO, a data protection officer. So when I got there, I realized that the interview questions were on data protection. Thankfully, I had considerable knowledge in data protection in the NDPA. So I essentially knowing my stuff at that point. The point was that they were the person that was leaving that was. I did not know that what the job description said was that they needed someone who's knowledgeable in IT and can work in their compliance role. I know I just wanted an in-house role, and that was how I got into data privacy. And the thing is, one thing I actually realized from my story was that document started that series when I was working virtually with that law firm. I probably never have gotten into data privacy because it was that knowledge that I actually leveraged that I knew so much, even though I never actually had a working experience with it. In law firms, you don't actually have privacy. You know. Anyway, we don't have DPIAs, we don't have DPOs and stuff in law firm. So, but in this place, I actually really foresaw that I was going to be doing cybersecurity. And I think Okoyemi mentioned, the thing is, I don't go to court, so my work is in-house. And looking at the scope of my work, it is that I have to on IT teams to ensure that whatever they are doing is in line with the law. We conduct audits, risk and several kind of assessments to ensure that a lot is put in place because I work in telecoms, and in telecoms, high risk data processing is like usual. So essentially, data protection, and so I'm also telecoms is actually heavily exposed. So we are always getting updates from the NCC and all that. And as the person who actually is in charge of data protection, the person who actually is with the IT governance committee, I have to always update my team on every new alert that we get into that. So I never really thought that was just an opportunity that I had in law firm. It was not even within essentially my scope of work. Associates in the law firm. So that's how I go in. It's still unfolding because in this world, a new day, a new challenge, essentially.
Thank you, John. The truth is, for most of us here, it's still unfolding. As a matter of fact, by the nature of cybersecurity and privacy, it's still keep unfolding because it is still evolving. And the way tech keeps evolving, it keeps advancing. Can you all hear me, please?
I think you're now faster again. Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you, but it's faster now.
Yeah, it is.
It's just the speed. It's network. Let's just manage it. If everything comes back to normal. All right. So everybody's still the journey is still unfolding for everybody, especially considering the nature of this field that we are in. Privacy, cybersecurity, it keeps evolving. And for that reason, we also keep evolving with it. So on that note, we now understand, or we have a glimpse into everybody's journey here. And sincerely speaking, it's a journey of resilience, a journey of hard work, a journey of diligence. I believe so. And because of that, I'm celebrating every speaker right here on this call. It is not easy. We have studying law, we're trying to venture into another field. It is definitely not easy. So I celebrate you all. Thank you. All right, I haven't talked
You're
about how we
welcome.
all venture. How we all venture into cybersecurity and privacy. We have been we've seen so many reports, we've seen so many statistics and news. One of the news that we saw last year, as at September 2024, it was reported that Nigeria shows 5,806 130 cyber threats in 6 months. So it shows that cyber threats you might not have affected you in Nigeria as a person, but this thing happens. Business Day reported sometimes this year that experts are worried about data breaches in the health and insurance sector. So I believe this area of law is supposed to. I believe it is something that by now we should have gotten to an advanced stage because with the number of breaches that we are getting to know about, with the number of threats that they are recorded in Nigeria, I feel it is not getting the level of exposure that it needs to get. That is my take. And particularly a friend of mine, when we're discussing about cybersecurity, he told me, he said, people don't know what banks face. He said, deny of service attack and deep like frequently. And this attack, it will end that when they keep, bombarding the bank's network, it gets to a stage. Their system tries to is overflooded, and their network is slow. You can't access information you're supposed to. As a result of these attacks, now considering this common occurrence, I would ask you, do you think that the Nigerian profession and even the law firms that we have, do you think they are embracing this area of law? Do you think they're embracing this area of law as they should? Yeah, that's when they keep, bombarding the bank's network. This records, they are actually embracing this particular fields as they should. Okay, can you on this? Let's hear from you.
Would only struggle to hear you, but I guess what you are saying is whether the Nigerian legal system itself, right, or even the association, the Nigeria Bar Association, maybe they are now embracing all these, let's say, privacy law, for example, or cybersecurity law, for example. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. How did you get the background
Okay,
idea?
okay, good. Okay, so
I was talking about
not really. I couldn't really hear you well,
different
to be
statistics,
honest. I
cyber
I
threats,
couldn't
landscape,
hear you well, to be honest.
the exposure, and all that.
Or
So
perhaps if
I would
any
ask
of
you,
the other speaker actually held you well, so that they can just go ahead and start.
okay, did anybody hear me well? Okay, did anybody get my question?
Perhaps if any of the others actually held you well, so that they can just go ahead and start.
You didn't get my question, right?
And okay, let me start. Okay, because I've actually had the opportunity to see things from the government perspective. See, the thing about cybersecurity is that it is faster. Cybersecurity threats are so the way they happen, you'll be surprised. Okay, let me give you this example. People actually what they call you can actually say you passwords, but you don't have the technology to break the passwords now. So you keep the passwords waiting. So that in future comes that can help you break this encryption, you then break it. So people are not even trying to what's it called do some form of life hacking right now. They're actually planning to hack into it, and they're already setting up systems to security threats. Now let me give this a start. Tier was moved from tier 5 in the global cybersecurity ranking. And this actually was of the systems government put in place to ensure that Nigeria, in terms of cybersecurity, um, for to be honest, financial systems are very very high risk because a lot of hackers are trying to hack them. A lot of people want to get away with other people's money, and it is so the not seen is that we have very few cybersecurity experts in this country. There was a conference that I attended last year, and this was actually the theme of the main issue. How do we get more cybersecurity experts in Nigeria? A lot of cybersecurity that we have in Nigeria have left the country. They left the country in 2020, 2021, and 2022. What is happening in the banks are happening. A shortage of cybersecurity experts within our country. So cybersecurity requires both human personnel and human beings cannot be around the system 24/7. But hackers 24/7 to actually look for any vulnerability. So it is that, and many times with the use of AI, they've actually automated these attacks. So much so that AI systems can actually keep trying to see whether you can in your system. So the point is that what we need at the moment, first, our government is doing. We actually have a national cybersecurity coordination center. It's actually not just out there. We have the Nigerian strategy
Yes.
of 2021. So we have these systems in place. In fact, we have the Nigerian cybersecurity emergency rescue team, the NG set. We also have the NGC. So many cybersecurity that, to be honest, maybe because I'm in telecoms and we actually, or we are a public interest entity. There's another term I'm actually looking for. So we work closely with the government in ensuring that cars can actually access the Nigerian telecommunication system. I mean, the Nigerian telecommunication system powers banks because you supply the internet infrastructure and so many things. So the way they can get it, so basically, God need. I think what we need is we need more people who are actually very good at cybersecurity, and we need people who have AI systems to fight emerging trends, because the threats are actually out there. You can see a very simple example of deepfake technology. Deepfake technology is as cheap as anything nowadays. And deepfake technology can actually be used in so many ways to actually defraud systems, defraud people, defraud entities, and all that. So it's getting cheaper to defraud. It's getting cheaper to hack. Have the personnel and the system in place to, because they will keep coming. The banks have never seen anything yet. With AI, they will see more. It's just the reality.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Ope, can you please go on? Let's hear your view on this briefly.
Okay, so please, can you hear?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes.
perfect. So I think John has said a lot about this topic, especially on cybersecurity. So let me take the privacy angle then. When we say privacy, data protection versus Nigerian legal system now, like where are we currently? Are we actually moving like other countries? To that question, I would say no, right? But we are actually not stuck in the same position also. So in the last 2 years, Nigeria has actually seen a lot in the privacy space. There are actually a lot of developments in the privacy space, right? Starting with the NDPA of 2023, and of course the recent General Application and Implementation Directive of 2025. And even between that period, right, a couple of guidelines were actually released. For example, the one requesting that organizations should go and register as major processors or major controllers, right? Yes, exactly. So now that's a good one for us. And one thing that has been happening recently with the NDPC is that you can obviously see, right, that they are trying their best, their absolute best, to ensure that Nigeria can be near that privacy trust level, right, that you can give to any country, as long as you know that this particular country is handling your data. Okay, for example, I'm not scared of my privacy data being processed in the US, right? I'm not scared of it being processed or being transferred to the UK. Why? Because I know there are actually concrete regulations on it in such countries, right? And I know they're actually going to protect my personal data very well. Unlike the opinion, right, is different when you are now talking about Nigeria. Okay, so for example, how many countries in the UK would trust their data centers to be located in Nigeria? You come up with a very low percentage. because they don't trust Nigeria. They don't trust our privacy regulations. They don't trust our auditing. Honestly, they don't even trust it. They don't trust our laws. But like I said, the space is fast changing. The NDPC is doing a lot, and yes, we are actually having a lot of professionals coming up in that field already. And I believe with the professionals, with the NDPC and lawyers, to be honest, and every lawyer, right? Then I think the pace can actually be faster.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Well, the pace can be faster with every hands on deck. And that's why we're trying to recruit more young lawyers. And that's the essence of this session. We are trying to recruit more young lawyers and even expose the law students to these areas. We need more lawyers. I've been to a tech program where I went to speak, and one of the speakers, I think he used to work for Microsoft. He has worked for so many big companies. He was telling me, he said, Tayo, I'm so happy to be a lawyer. Please, we need more of you in this space. We need. He was saying it emphatically, and you would see, you would feel that passion in that in this discussion. We need more lawyers. I don't understand. Most of these lawyers don't even understand the nitty-gritty of these areas. But we need people that actually understand what is going on in this area. And I highly recommend young lawyers to explore this field. You know, the sky is big enough to accommodate every bird, whether small, it's big enough to accommodate us. And people that us have, gone in this field, they are ready to hold people's hand. And that's the essence of this particular session. You can enter anybody's DM, enter John's DM, enter Quest's DM, enter Nana's DM. I need you to. Can you please help me? Can you please mentor me? But let me tell you, you can't get. You have to be serious because they are busy people. They are busy people. So if you're not serious, don't even bother to come into their DMs. You need to want this thing. That's when you can go into their DMs. So I haven't said that. Nana is not here, but let's go to the next question. I would be right to say that from our discussion so far, there are many opportunities for lawyers in this field, privacy and cybersecurity law. So I want to highlight, specific opportunities for lawyers. What are the roles that lawyers can actually play in this field? What are the job titles that they can actually, get into in this particular field? I've got to that question countless times, and I've also responded countless times. But I want to hear from you all again. Let them hear again, voice to voice. What are the roles? What are the opportunities that lawyers are exposed to in this field, privacy and cybersecurity law? John, can you please go again? Thank you.
So, essentially, like the cybersecurity is a big one, and so the rules that lawyers can actually explore, essentially, to start with, I think basic, the I would say the ground is, if you, for instance, if you work as a data protection officer in a data processing company or data controller, or with, data processing company is a company that actually uses people's data. So when you gather data, essentially you gather a lot of data. Putting that data into something, into is actually data processing. You process that data into something useful. So I can actually gather everybody's pocket money. Let's say everybody's data, everybody's pocket money. So me now trying to find the average pocket money a student actually earns in a month or a week or in 2 weeks. So that's data processing actually, essentially. So some companies do this, and many companies actually do this. Companies that actually get that data to use them to actually achieve certain goals as data processors. Now, data controllers are companies actually own this. They actually take this data and actually use them they actually own this data and own this data. Essentially, their roles are actually in a way very, very similar. But when you look at the roles in this company, you like number one, by the provision of the NDPA, they need to have a data protection officer. Also, we are having roles such as compliance officers, Compliance officer. See, the thing about compliance is that when you hear compliance officer, it's like a basket of so many things. Compliance is wide. Protection is just one of them. You have them. They probably want you to ensure. Maybe it's a, let's say a regulated company or regulated agency. They actually want you to ensure that they are always in line with whatever directive is given by the regulator. For instance, if you work in banking, there are so many licenses. You have the payment service license. You have the PSBs and all that. Now, there are several directives that will come from the CBN. Now, the person who handles this directive is actually the compliance person. Now, if you actually fail to handle these directives effectively, you can actually put your company or the organization you work with at a risk of fines. For instance, data protection, they were fined heavily by the Nigerian Data Protection Commission. Now, that's the fault of who? That's actually the fault of people working their companies. Because if these people are actually work, they realize that whatever they were doing, information arbitrarily and without control, is actually against or runs against the provisions of the NDPC. So that is those are actually the basic stuff that people can actually the basic rules that you can actually get in data protection. Now you now have things that like that go on. If okay, so Google may have shared Nigeria data to them and stuff. So the reality, the data brokerage industry is a 250. So I cannot blame these companies for no one's taking selling your data. However, it is the job of the NDPC to ensure that anybody that handles Nigeria is actually compliant with it. Now, Nigerian laws, the NDPR actually provides that you opt-in. You can actually decide if you want to say NDPA is a bit more of an opt-out. That's another discussion entirely. But the point is that the rules that are there are a lot. You go from working in you can work in any other protection expert. You don't have to be an expert. Just understand data protection. Understand that consent is the base or the number one basis rather. Understand the principles. Understand how data protection systems work. How processing, the regulations that you have to follow before you can actually conduct service processing. So you can actually work in banks. They need them to work in banks. Law firms essentially don't really, or less some law firms. Now you have some law firms also working as a compliance organization, which are now a requirement that processors or process of data must actually work with to do their um, data protection compliance here. So there are so much you could actually work with, and every bank, as we speak, every bank now has a CISO, information security officer. Now that is a cybersecurity role, but you get to the position of a CISO, data protection. It is the basic knowledge you're expected to have. Like I said earlier, data is actually the 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 essence of cybersecurity. Information that you're trying to protect is actually data. So essentially, so there are so many rules leading up to that, and so many opportunities out
Thank you,
there.
John.
I think it's just an opportunity, finding somewhere to start.
Thank you, John.
So
I'll
that's
give
the
the mic
major
to
point.
Nana. Nana, can you hear me?
I'm sorry. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Uh,
Is it is
well,
it loud and clear? Because it's raining heavily over here.
it is loud and clear. It is loud and clear.
Okay, so please, can you take a question? The network kicked me out. I was
So
trying to come
yes,
back in.
the question that we are treating now is what opportunities there are in this field for lawyers. Your field as a data privacy expert. What opportunities do you think lawyers can explore? What role, what job description are there are available for lawyers that lawyers can fit in easily?
Uh, Okay. Thank you so much. In terms of opportunities, you're looking at the job description, right? The job role a lawyer, a non-lawyer can fit in. And I have good news for everybody here. Um, you necessarily don't have to be a lawyer to be a data protection officer. So I get, I think when we come to, I think there's a section where we are going to answer some myths and some non-myths, yeah, myths about the space. So let me leave this particular aspect for that. So the kind of job roles that you can fit in are like compliance officers in terms of privacy and data protection, and like the most renowned one right now, the DPOs. You can be a DPO, that's the data protection officer. That's like the latest when it comes to data protection and privacy. That's the prime role for persons that are in that particular space. So as I believe John was describing, that when it comes to compliance, there is compliance in different aspects. So if you are working with a company that is very, they process high risk data, you want to look at working as a compliance, data protection compliance officer. You will join the team, the compliance team, to make sure that their systems are compliant with prevailing data protection laws at that particular time. And that's for Nigeria alone. And also you can work as an outsourced data protection officer. Just like we have lawyers who are in-house lawyers, like in-house counsels, and lawyers who are external counsels. That's how you can have for data protection officers as well. You can either work as an in-house data protection officer or an outsourced data protection officer. So whatever the case may be. So when it comes to the privacy space, these are the major roles that this is one of the major roles that you can play in the space. And also you can also be a lecturer. You can lecture in the university, in different universities. Currently, we just spoke about a few minutes ago, we were talking about the fact that none of these universities taught these things, and they are looking for ways to ensure that law school itself tries to teach these courses. So when that happens, who will they be looking for? I mean, they will be looking for data protection and privacy experts, right? So you can be in the academia and teach this role. I believe one of those persons that inspired me so much is Dr. Olumide Babalola, is a lecturer in this role. And funny as it sounds, even for data protection and privacy, there's a lot of litigation going on. And he's one of those persons that have been trying to, he has been making, if you follow him very well, you see that he has made a lot of groundbreaking legislation. He takes on the initiative to sometimes institute most of these actions. He has really done well in building the case law in terms of data protection and privacy in Nigeria. I mean, if you pick up any case law in data protection and privacy in Nigeria and you have not seen his name as one of the counsels to one of the parties, that means that case you did not hear of it. Something like that. So you can be in litigation. You can be a litigation expert in that field as well. So when you look at litigating data protection rights, Nigeria currently people are not suing as much as other countries, but when you hear of EU laws, there are a lot of cases on data protection and privacy. So people sue. So you can be in the litigation space as a data protection litigation officer, or you can be inside compliance as in-house compliance, or you can be like me, who worked as an outsourced data protection officer for most of the organization, except for situations where I want to be contacted in-house. But I've not had any offer to work as an in-house data protection officer. And from what I've been putting out there, my expertise has always been sorted as an external data protection officer. So those are the roles that we can fit in this particular space. Then when you want to talk about working with regulators, with this skill,
you can be able to work with the NDPC itself. For me, I have this passion that I always look for opportunities to collaborate with NDPC. So recently, in during the privacy week, National Privacy Week in January, they had this Adopt a School initiative that NDPC called on most DPCOs to do. Although the call was for DPCOs, I became a learning facilitator, a volunteer learning facilitator. That was how I was able to collaborate with NDPC directly to train students on data protection and privacy in like secondary school level, not primary and secondary school. And I'm not even talking about university yet. So this is primary and secondary school. So you can be in the academia, you can be a trainer, you can be a data protection officer, or whatever space you find yourself. There are a lot of opportunities. As time goes by, we will know that we'll come to see that there will be more opportunities for people to fall, more roles for people to fill in, and we are looking forward to better times. I mean, other than just the name data protection officer, there's definitely going to be a lot coming in as time goes on. Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you, Nana. And for the want of time, Okpa won't speak this time. But to the next question, we have personally, before I delved into cybersecurity law proper, I used to think that I used to think that um, I need a technical skill. I need to know how to code before I can break into this sector. I need to know some technical things. As a matter of fact, when we were doing the cybersecurity course at CyberSafe Foundation, I got so frustrated when we were doing things like launching a lab, trying to trying to detect attacks, trying to some of these technical things. I get so discouraged easily, and I get so tired. And but so many people think that that is all there is about cybersecurity. That is, if you don't do anything technical, you're not in cybersecurity. That's a misconception that I believe needs to be addressed. And for this reason, I would like our speakers to talk on some of these misconceptions that young lawyers or law students may have about breaking into cybersecurity and data privacy law. So, please, can you go ahead?
Okay, thank you, Oladayo. Um, okay, so I think the first misconception, like you said, right, is the technical knowledge, right? Okay, so am I able to do this? Am I able to hack into a system? Am I able to find out if an attack is going on, or whatever you might think of, right? But like you said, it's just a misconception. So remember, I was telling you guys that I'm not really into cybersecurity law, but like I'm into the cybersecurity profession itself. Like I said, you won't see me take my wig and gown going to court for on cybersecurity law. I'm actually in a niche, right, in cybersecurity, which we call GLC. That's the governance, risks, and compliance. It's a niche in cybersecurity. So for this particular niche, right, you can say you are going to find more lawyers there, right, than any other part of cybersecurity. And I feel the reason for this is because it is less technical. Like, quote me, I'm saying less technical, right? I'm not saying that you won't come across some technical things there. There are actually technical stuff that you might have to know. There are some baselines that you just have to know, right? But it's less technical. You can't compare it with network security. You can't compare it with ethical hacking, right? So lawyers tend to thrive more in GRC field of cybersecurity than any other field. So if you know you have a limitation in understanding technical stuff, like Oladayo said, right? So same year, um, when I was doing my training, right? Yes, I also had that challenge, right? There are some things that I'll be like, what is this? Like, okay, what are you trying to do? Like, who sent you this message, right? Nobody sent me here because it was just too much for me to understand. And the funny thing is that after taking my time to understand those things, right, it became clearer. But I knew that this can't be something I want to do daily. This can't be what I want to do from my 9 to 5. Yes, I can do some things in other aspect of cybersecurity, but I prefer GLC. GLC is more like a merge of my interest in digital information and privacy law and my law background. So it's easier for me to navigate, right? So that's one of the misconception in cybersecurity. And even privacy. Let's talk about privacy too, right? So for privacy, I feel that it's best navigated by lawyers, to be honest. Lawyers tend to thrive more in privacy, right, than non-lawyers. That's just the fact. Because don't forget, when we were discussing privacy, when we were talking about data protection, we were talking about the law governing privacy, the law governing, or let me say the law let me say the right, yes, the right a law has given somebody right to be able to control his or her personal data. So now all these things are actually embellished in a law, in a document, in a regulation, right? If you don't understand the laws, if you don't understand the regulation, there's no way you can actually get to be in the privacy feed. Like John said the other time, he said it wasn't. I think he said it was his result was yet to come out, or perhaps it was even yet to go to law school, right? But yet he could actually understand the laws concerning privacy. He could analyze the NDPA, and he was able to do it so well, right, to the extent that he even got a job as a DPO from his learnings. So that's just the way it is. So another myth I think people also have about cybersecurity or even privacy is that people tend to think that it's just a one-time training. Oladaye said something the other time that also relates to this. In cybersecurity and privacy, you learn continuously. There's no stop in learning. There's no full stop, to be honest. As I am right now, my let me say 50% of my brain, right, is towards a certification that I'm trying to do, to be honest, right? And even after that certification that I'm going to be writing this week, there are still other things that I've already pegged, marked for okay next week that I have to go through. One, because perhaps my work is demanding it, or because I need that knowledge to be able to do well in a particular task that I'm being assigned to at work, or because it's actually a trend. I need to learn it. Okay, what about the GAID, right? The General Application and Implementation Directive of 2025 that just came out. It just came out like, was it not 2 weeks ago? As somebody in privacy, as somebody in compliance, it's something I have to learn. I have to know it in and out. I have to understand it, right? You would see that if you are to check my to-do list for the next 2 weeks now, you would continuously see that particular law being repeated several times. So don't think that by going for one certification, and when I mean certification, perhaps programs, right, then you know it all. No, you don't. Just have it at the back of your mind that this thing is continuous. You will read and read and read and read and read. There's no full stop to it. So I think another misconception also about these two feeds, right, is the money. A lot of people think that once you enter the feed, then oh, you're going to blow. It doesn't work that way, to be honest. Yes, it's a
Money.
good one, to be honest. Yeah, money is very important. I know. It's a good both any of the fit, right? Or even if you're going to be doing both, like I am currently, the fact is, yes, there are prospects. Don't let me say there are prospects to it. Yes, you get to make your money, but in time. Don't just think that within 6 months of your transition or within 6 months of picking it up, then yes, the money is going to fall from heaven. No, it doesn't work that way. You are going to practically work for it. And yes, when it gets to a time when you are known in that field, yes, the money is just going to keep coming and raining down on you. Okay, so those are the things I have to say. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Okwe. That was brilliant. And because of time, I'll just let Nana and John give us one misconception. One, just one each. Nana can go first.
I might. I listened to Opeyemi and she has finished everything I want to say. So I adopt the reasoning of my learned colleague as my own statement. Most of the things I wanted to say in terms of the how quick you need to get it, data protection officers and all the rest, she has already addressed it in terms of the knowledge, in terms of the money, in terms of who needs to. I think I mentioned basically that for data protection officers, that lawyers, you don't need to really be a lawyer to function as a DPO, a data protection officer. However, from the certification requirements that the General Application and Implementation Directive, that's the guide, just came up with, it's looking like the appearance is you need to be a lawyer, you need to know, because one of the paramount requirements as a data protection officer is the knowledge of the law and all. So looking at it, it's shifting towards it, it's making it very favorable for lawyers to thrive in that field. However, if you're a person who is passionate about privacy data protection, you can start taking certification, you can start learning the rudiments. And of course, like Obayami said, it's not quick. It's been this is my second year now, and I can tell you that I did not get paid for this my work until my first year was over, and I was went into the second year and I started getting paid. The first time I got paid as a data protection officer was this year, and I started since last year. So no, I started since 2023. I started this journey in 2023, and 2020, 2023, I started somewhere around August from 2023, nothing. 2024, nothing. So this is 2025. This is when I'm beginning to see dividends for my work. So it takes time. It took me 2 years to start earning as a data protection officer. So please, like Ifeanyi has said, it's not something. It's not a get rich quick. You have to work for it. And when I was working for that pay, I know I worked. I was spent at the end of the work journey. Although I was not going to court and all the rest, but I know that it took a lot from me to pull up. So that's for me. I think that's how I will summarize. I'll just adopt what she has said because she has said most of the things. She has laid the foundation for
Thank
everything I
you.
needed to say. And that will be that. Thank you.
Thank you. John, can we have your one misconception?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We
Hello?
heard you. We heard you,
Can you
Nana.
hear me?
We heard you. We heard you.
Can anyone hear me?
We can hear you.
Hello? Can you hear me?
So, John, can we have one from
I
you?
think I'm done, so I'm going to hand over now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think Opeyemi and Nana really said almost everything. For me, I think one misconception, but one thing I actually want law graduates and law to know is that um, you you don't have to know, but you have to know something about, so at least something substantial about it. You can't know everything now because we don't know everything. I've been working and I still don't know everything. However, when you can take courses, take the courses. And if you do not understand, I think the information has been very democratized at this age where you can actually take a difficult concept, go to, and you ask the AI system to actually you like a 6-year-old or a 10-year-old. It will actually help you understand this concept. So I think while you can't know everything, you should ensure that you know about almost enough, if not enough, about, because the thing is here, one thing I've come to realize is that is actually ready to start doing the work of training you from scratch. People actually want people that understand, number one, their systems, and understand the work they want to do. They don't have to know everything about it, but at least you have an idea of actually what you want to do. So, as a law graduate or as a law student, I would say, there are basic courses you can take. There are, you don't have to pay for. You can go on YouTube, you know, and learn some of the principles of cybersecurity. Start from the CIA triad, which is actually the basis. If you don't understand the CIA triad, then I don't know if you actually want to do time. There's something they call information overload. You don't want to load yourself with too much that you've gone through too much, but you know very little. You actually haven't. So you're actually just talking generally, but you can't actually say something tangible. So please try and know as much as you can, enough, but you can't make the best. So essentially, that's it for me.
Thank you so much, John. So let's go to the next question because I already told people to start dropping their questions. So let's go to the next question. The next question is describe a day in your life. So I'll ask Okwe first. How does a day in your life as a cybersecurity compliance analyst looks like?
Move to the privacy part, right? Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good, good. So starting with GLC, I'm expected to know security frameworks, right? So frameworks like ISO 27001, ISO 22301, the GDPR, the now old NDPR, the NDPA, anything under privacy and security framework generally, any security framework generally. So now from my knowledge of it, from my familiarity with it, I'm expected to help clients be in compliance with these security frameworks and privacy frameworks or privacy laws, right? So now I'm expected to review policies, procedures, practices of these organizations, right? So that I can do a sort of gap analysis whether they are in compliance with either the security framework they are trying to be in compliance with or the privacy law that they are trying to be in compliance with, right? And I give recommendations from there. There are also in some special circumstances, I'm just coming in as the auditor, right? That means I'm not part of the implementation. I'm just there to actually look at their processes and recommend them for certification or not. So I think I've been able to explain how it is for GLC. So for privacy, it's similar because I've been giving examples of how it is also for privacy, right? Only that as a privacy analyst also, right? I would see organizations come to me telling me to help them to review their privacy notice or privacy policy, their data protection policy to ensure that it aligns with the framework they are trying to be in compliance with. So you see some organizations, they are not just operating in Nigeria, they're also dealing with personal information of people in the UK, right, or in any of the EU countries. So now it's expected that they should be in compliance with the GDPR. It can be the EU GDPR, it can be that of UK itself, the Data Protection Act of 2018 of UK. So now the expectation is that that single privacy notice or that single data protection policy, right, should cover all of these frameworks. By looking at it, it should be able to meet compliance with all of these frameworks that they are trying to comply with. And you would see, don't forget, I'm also a lawyer, right? You would see some organizations told me to help them with their NDAs, right? That's the non-disclosure agreement. Now, what they are trying to do is also to embed privacy clauses in such agreements. Then you see some organizations also come to me for DPAs, That's an agreement that you might have with a partner, for example, or any business, any third party that you are going to be transferring personal data to. Maybe you want to onboard a data processor. So it's expected that there should be a data protection agreement between both of your data processing agreements, depending on how you want to name it. So it's expected that there should be an agreement between you guys. And that means that agreement, just like when you are writing any legal document, right, it should be in compliance with a framework. So now, depending on the operations of the organization and where the organization is operating from, the personal data of the citizens they are operating with, right, then you have to ensure that such documentations comply with the frameworks. So that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Okwe. That's a very succinct explanation of a day in the life of a cybersecurity analyst and a privacy analyst. It seems like a lot. I mean, but I would say that your company is actually fortunate to have you, because even though you are employed as a data and cybersecurity analyst, they still are able to leverage on your legal background. So it is not entirely gone. It's just that you are not appearing in court like a lawyer would do per se. So I believe they are actually still
Exactly.
exploring that area of you. And for me, well, I'm still in the litigation aspect of it because I go to court often. I go to court often than not in the commercial corporate aspect of law. And when it comes to cybersecurity, just like Okpa has said, it's for me, it's basically drafting and reviewing agreements, policies, specifically policies. I mean, I've drafted several privacy policies for companies, reviewed um, agreements such as vendor agreements, third party risk management policies, and all that. So, those are things that I've worked on so far when it comes to cybersecurity. And just like Opa was saying, it's better for us as lawyers, because we really do not need to focus our strength, especially if you don't have that strength or energy to focus it on technical part of cybersecurity. You can actually go decide to be in the non-technical, just like GRC, where we deal with policies, we deal with compliance. As a lawyer, you can thrive in that area really well, because you're leveraging your legal background, you're leveraging your knowledge of the law, of regulations, of interpretation of all these laws, uh, interpretation of these laws, creation of these policies. You are leveraging your knowledge of all these things in those areas. So it is really easy and really simple. Yeah, it's really easy and really simple. But it's a lot of things to do during the day. But trust me, if you're invested in it, you will love what you do. And if you're in a good office space, you can see Opa is looking fresh and nice. She's in a good working environment. Forget the work. She's doing a lot of work, but she's in a good working environment. So guys, just know your onions, know what you're doing, be committed to it, and they will come looking for you. They will come looking for you. I'm trying to call in Nana and John because I really want them to tell us about a day in their life. Whether or not your video is turned on, can you please go ahead, Nana? We are now talking about a day in the life of a data lawyer. Can you just briefly take us through your day, a day in your life?
Okay, a day in my life as a data protection officer, I
Yeah,
will make it very quick because live stream is kicking me off and on. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Hello, Dario. Can you hear? Okay. So,
Yeah,
for
yeah, we
me,
can hear you.
let me use the example of conducting a data protection awareness training. A day in the life looks like this for me. I send the program. Let's say if I'm training, we have a meeting. I meet with the top executives because for an organization to be able to implement most of these strategies and in compliance, or build data protection culture within an organization, we need the tone at the top. We need to set the tone at the top. What this means is that compliance begins with the top executives. So most of our interactions is with top executives, maybe the directors, the management team, and all the rest. So I contact them. It is for a data protection awareness training. I contact them and we talk about the size of the organization. For starters, we talked about this. Hello, am I still here? Can you still hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you,
Yes, we
Nana.
can hear you.
Okay, so we talk about the size of the organization. We plan the curriculum, how many days they're going to take the training. Let's say how many departments will need the training. Once we have all these preliminary discussions, the next thing for me is to prepare the training curriculum and send it to the client via email for them to look at, and then we agree on a particular time and date. And also they will review the curriculum to see if it fits the requirement. So for example, if the training is for the first time, I'll definitely need to do a broad overview. If the training is due to a data breach that occurred, probably I'll have to train a particular set of people on how to avoid data breaches. Now that will come to the what they call the technical part. That means that we'll have to have some technical knowledge of phishing and ransomware and malwares. I talk about those too. So after I do that, we'll now finally go ahead with the training. After I conduct the training, I do a feedback. I leave a feedback form for the organization, and I get the feedback from the organization to know, okay, this is how the training was, just to know. And finally, I do a follow up. So it doesn't end with just the training. I leave a feedback form and then I do follow up to know if this organization is compliant. So all of this is just for data protection awareness training alone. So if they were to contact you for some other jobs, that would be another day for another job again. So it depends on what task I am performing at a particular time. So I do registration as data protection controller or processor of major importance. I think I've done about 8 already, and we are still counting. I know that is with this directive to implement, there's going to be more. So, for example, if I'm doing a registration as a data controller, data processor of major organization for an organization, what I do is I ask them. I have a set of pre-prepared questionnaires. Like I send them these questionnaires. The organization fills in, either the management team or whoever is in charge fills in these necessary details, and they send it back to me. Now, using those details, I do what I call a mini gap analysis. So I'll be the one to analyze whether they fall into any of the categories of data protection, sorry, of data processing. It could be ordinary, it could be extra, it could be ultra. So I'm the one to analyze their processing activities and decide on that. So there's a lot of analysis going on, there's a lot of conversation going on between the data protection officer and the top management team of the organization. So that's how we do it. And like I mentioned, it all boils down to the nature of the task I'm doing for the organization. At the end of the day, the thing is to deliver excellent results and excellent service. Just like the way you want to think about somebody ordering a product from someone and expecting them to deliver the service you ordered, not what I ordered versus what I got. Not that one. You should order, the person should get what the person ordered for. It should be quality service that is satisfactory, even as a, an expert in a particular field. After the training, I normally ask, after this person, if I'm training, let's say the last one I did with an organization. I said, with fellow lawyers, I said, after this training, can you people do GPIA with me? And they said yes, and I was so happy. So that meant that I'd already delivered on my expectations. I mean, somebody actually said I exceeded expectations. So hallelujah to that. So
Thank
it's how
you.
it is for me. It's how it has been from.
Thank you so much, Nana. That's a lot. And thank you for sharing it
So
with us. We really appreciate that. And it's quite interesting. Anyways, I can say that I think I know a little about what you do because we are in a way connected more than or beyond the professional level. So a very good well done to you.
yeah.
I don't know, John, are you here? Is your network okay? We can actually go on without the video. So just run us through briefly, briefly. We don't have much time. We need to take some questions before we proceed.
Because I was saying that I'm muted. Sorry. Essentially, so you said what is a day in my role like? Essentially, actually, a day in my role is actually all the boring stuff. You have because my role not just isn't just cybersecurity and data privacy. My role also spans data contract management, um, and in the sector that I work in, we enter into a lot of agreement, international partners, local partners. So in this agreement, you will always have cybersecurity and data protection clauses. So and many a times, my role also involves entry into getting into meetings with many of these partners. Also, I do a weekly meeting with the IT team, in assessing what's it called, our systems. Many times we are actually looking at, okay, we got this alert from the NCC. Is this something that affects us? Is this something that we should move away from? Is this something that we should actually focus on? Should we look into it? So these are things that my day actually, and also essentially because we have to implement different safeguards to our network and everything. So I get involved in all this. So my day is basically a bit chaotic in that I might have to enter into meetings at any point in time, and then I have to respond. When you talk about contract management, you have a law process when it comes to you are reviewing. Sometimes you have to even explain the whole contract to some partners. You have to sit down and walk them through the contract because they're asking you, so could you actually walk me through the entire contract? And this can be very tiresome. So essentially, and then recently, I don't know, many organizations just recently concluded their data protection audit. It's the same for us too. Last month we were certified data protection compliant for 2024. So we look forward to the next audit, which is next year. So that was actually a lot working with the DPCO that we're working with, which at some point it was very demanding. They were just asking for this and asking for that. And I don't blame them actually. Who actually wants to get fined? And if you don't do a very satisfactory job at it, the NDPC will actually spot errors. So we'll actually spot our loopholes and all that if we do have any. So essentially, it's not my day is actually not structured. I might go to work and say this is my to-do list for the day, and then before you know what's happening, I might get regulatory requests, I might get emergency stuff. So that's actually it's just normal corporate this thing, chaotic, but no, it is what it is.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Whether or not, I don't think there is totally a structured day, but a glimpse into what you do, most of the time. That makes what a day in your life is, because the truth is you can't have a structured day. Oh. Sometimes you can just be in the office and the next thing you have seen, oh, there's this thing happening. We need to organize a meeting now. And in the next 20 minutes, you're already with some partners or some clients. So that's just how it is. That's the life of a lawyer. We have some questions to ask, but this is just the first session. We still have other sessions that other speakers would definitely talk and address us on some of these things. But we have two questions in the chat box, and one is already on our screen. So Adekoya Toluwa Lashe is saying, thank you very much for this opportunity. You're welcome, Tolu. Now, she said, I would like to ask how we can get hands-on experience as we study. That is, how can we practice what we learn? How can we train ourselves to be able to handle cases in an entry level role? I think Opayemi should answer this first. Then one other speaker can also give a take on it.
Okay, so I'm going to say the best approach to doing that is actually reaching out to people you know are already in the field. Introduce yourself, tell them you are interested in freelance roles, tell them you are interested in helping them, in volunteering with them right? Helping them with some of the tasks they might have. And yes, I know for some tasks, right? Because of privacy, obviously, we've been talking about privacy since, and we've been talking about confidentiality, integrity, and availability since, right? Yes, there are some things that they won't let you help them to do, but trust me, there are some projects that they can let you in and tell you to, perhaps it can even be you doing a sort of data inventory, personal data inventory on an organization. Yes, they might take the name of the organization out of it, or it might even be you writing a privacy policy or a privacy notice about an organization. Yes, the person might not give you the full details about the organization so that you are not able to identify that organization, because like I said, don't forget there's the NDAs, right, between the person and the organization. But like I said, there are still some rules that the person can surely let you own. There are some tasks that the person can surely give you, and through that you gain your skills. And there are also writing opportunities. Let's not forget what John said earlier, right? It started from writing about these things. As lawyers, we have the ability already. We have all these soft skills that are easily transferable to you getting a full-time role in cybersecurity, or even data protection slash privacy. So now, by reading all these laws, by putting yourself out there, that's another that's another thing I should mention, right? Yes, a lot of people are actually doing a lot of things, trying to learn all these things, but they are doing it in the corner of their room. You are not putting yourself out there. For example, if you are to message me and ask me, right, for a freelance position, or perhaps you can help me with one of my projects, how can I vouch for you? How can I vouch for your, let me say, your baseline knowledge now? It's true what you've been saying you've been doing. It's how you've positioned yourself with your learning so far. I'm not demanding, I'm not asking for you to be a professional already in privacy or cybersecurity, but is there a sort of digital print, right, of your learnings on your social media? So do you write articles on Medium? Do you write things you've learned on your do you put them on your LinkedIn? So all those things actually would help you position yourself better, right? For people to even message you and say, "Oh, we have this particular opportunity. Are you interested?" Yes, it might be a volunteer role, right? But you must start somewhere. And if you are lucky, it can actually be paid. And through that, through all these projects that you'll be doing, then you get to have all the necessary experience to even break into the field.
Thank you so much, Okpa.
Thank you,
That
Dayo.
was just absolutely good. That was absolutely good. I don't know if someone else amongst the big speaker, just one person, who has an addition to what Okpa has said.
I wouldn't know if I can add something to what he has said. Sorry you can't see my face. The power company just did their thing. Anyway, so I think, like she said, to be honest, I was saying something the other time which she actually echoed very well, and which is people will actually hire you when they see that you can actually deliver, what they actually want. For instance, I would say that nobody actually wants, you know, someone who actually does not actually even understand the system. So I think it rests on you to start to learn. And how do you get be employed or as a student without certifications? Or I think the first thing is to actually show the desire to learn, which is even understanding what it means. And then as a student, you can actually apply for internships. To be honest, if you actually want to work in data privacy, DPCOs, there are law firms now that are actually DPCOs. I think Jackson, Etsy, and Edu it's a DPCO. DAPT, so many companies are now DAPT. If you can find internship opportunities in DPCOs, they can actually launch your career in data protection. You don't need to work there. You just need to say you've actually worked in the data protection compliance process. And you have something to show for it because while you are there, while they are doing audits for some of their clients, you might be involved in this process, and this alone can give you the background that you need. Another thing I will advise you to do is that whenever you have the opportunity, like she said, write on LinkedIn. Just look for certain concepts that you find interesting. For instance, there's actually an interesting concept for in the GID. I was studying it the other time, and I realized that Article 3 sub 3 of the GID says that it actually repeals or it makes the NDPA the sole law on data protection in Nigeria. So, what happens to the NDPR that was working side by side the NDPA? Because there are actually certain stuff in the NDPR that are not in the NDPA. For instance, the definition of data, personal data is not in the NDPA. And these are actually interesting conversations that we actually need to have. And if you actually highlight some of these conversations, on LinkedIn, it shows that you actually understand. You've done your homework. You understand the system. You understand how it works, and you never know. You never know. The thing about LinkedIn is that people that see your post, it gives you visibility, professional visibility. And to be honest, in your career, you need that thing because we people are a product of people recommendations. Recommendations go a long way. So please try and give yourself that visibility in that line that you want to go to.
Thank
If you
you,
don't have
John.
certifications, have knowledge. That's it.
Thank you, John. John has touched on the second question. So, but I want Nana to comment on this second question. So the question is, good evening, ma. Can I be employed in privacy and data protection role without having any relevant certifications? Although we are still going to treat this next week, but you can still touch on it. So if so, what are the potential job responsibilities or scope of such position? That is, okay, if I'm able to get a data privacy role without certification, what should I expect as a responsibility? Nana, can you please take this for us? We can hear you. I think you're muted. We can hear you.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
we can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Okay. I think I know who's asking this question. I'm so okay. I Ziba is the one asking this question, and that's nice. Ziba and I have been working together in the office, and it's been nice. It's been really awesome. Ziba is one of our intern at Faban LP. Hello, Ziba. Thanks for this question. So let's go down. Can I be employed right now? As of now, as I speak, recent schedule. I think it's the seventh schedule. Yeah, of the guide, one of the schedules of the guide, might not be the seventh, but one of the schedules, they have this attestation and accreditation criteria for data protection officers. That means that you would have to have a recognized certification to function. Now, Ola here and I, we're having a conversation. We have this private WhatsApp group where we just talk and rant about what's happening. And it's been very helpful. One of the things we talked about is that when the guide came in, the guide placed a lot of pressure. Previously, you could have applications from just other institutions and they would accept it. But right now, the NDPC has a list of recognized institutions that you must be certified from. Now that makes it very costly for anybody to practice because most of these certifications are actually very, very, very expensive. They are on the high side and they charge in dollars. So we are talking about $200. For Isaka, I saw about 940 something dollars as a data protection engineer. So all of this, you would need a relevant certification to practice. So yes, it is a requirement. And about the potential job requirements, I think we already dealt on the responsibilities. Your responsibilities as someone who is in and you are in-house, you have to make sure that all their processes, their documentation, their merchant service agreements, their data processing agreements, that's when it comes to drafting the contracts. Now, if you are into and if you're an external counsel and let's say Facebook gets sued for data breach or whatever breach of the rights of a data subject, they would want to contact you to represent them during the investigation. That means there's also litigation aspects of data protection and privacy. So if you want to go into that, that's fine. Another responsibility is for you to liaise with the regulators, especially if there's a data breach report that you need to do. You need to contact the regulator, that's NDPC, which is the Data Protection Authority in Nigeria, to tell them to report, to self-report that there was a breach and all that. So you are like a middle person to liaise with the data protection authority. And another responsibility, you need to make sure that there is regular training, you conduct training, you review privacy policies, you review contracts. I think I already. Then you also help with registration. Another responsibility is you are the interface as a data protection officer, as a compliance officer. If you read most of privacy policies to the end, the information they will add there would be that of the data protection officer's details, because data subjects or customers or users or clients in this case that are interfacing with any systems of the organization, you are their contact person. If they have a complaint, you are the first person they would have to contact because your details are already there. So these are some of the scope of responsibilities that a data protection officer or a privacy compliance officer has to look out for in practice. I think I've answered this
Thank you, Nana.
question. Is there anything left?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
Nana. Thank you, Nana. Let me pick from what she has said. Epsiba, you don't have certification, but you already have something that qualifies you to even practice in this area. For example, as a litigation lawyer, if you're a litigation counsel and you're involved or you are interested in privacy and data protection law, you necessarily do not need a certification. The certification to qualify as a litigation counsel is your bar certificate, which you already have. So if you're that kind of person who wants to go to courts, you want to go into privacy and data protection law, and you don't have any problem with litigation, why not? You don't need certification for litigation. Go to courts, understand what it is about data protection, understand the liabilities in that particular case, understand the claims that your clients can actually get from that particular fact, and draft your processes. Go to court. That's how it is. And also, you don't need to also limit yourself. Okpe and John, they've also mentioned something about internship, and luckily, you are interning with Nana in Fabin LP. So even in internship, some law firms that are big enough or some organizations that are big enough, they can actually pay you, right? So if it is money you are looking for, some people can actually pay interns. But for those that can't pay interns, they are paying you with experience, they are paying you with knowledge, they are paying you with practical dealings. So I think that is good enough. And the more you put yourself out there, the more financial opportunities are open for you so that you can even go ahead and take certifications. And like I said, you should also watch out for all these communities. These communities have, they have partnerships with all these international organizations that can actually certify you. So if you are serious enough in those communities, you can get all these opportunities. For example, CyberSafe Foundation, I was able to get opportunity to write the CC exam. Okpa here has gotten so many certifications too from CyberSafe Foundation for free. So put yourself in those communities, be serious, and um, attract attention to these certifications opportunities that these communities share. In fact, it doesn't have to be communities. Some professionals actually share opportunities like this on LinkedIn, on Twitter. You can follow them. Some of them they'll tell you we have 5 free vouchers for this course. Recently, I applied for one, CIPPE. Even Nana applied, but we all got rejection mail for the scholarship. Apparently, oh, applied. Okpeto applied. We all got rejection mail, but we are not stopping. If I see another opportunity, I will still apply till I'm able to get all the certification. So don't limit yourself to not having the certification yet. There are still opportunities for you to get it free or with your own money. So for now, the limit that you can still go with your law certificate. Do it. Do it. Don't let anything restrict you. So I think I would stop on that as to this question. And that will be our final question for today. So before we end this session finally, in just 30 seconds, I want the speakers to, advise us generally. What's your advice? You will be giving us, but what's your final advice as you go this evening? Just 30 seconds, something short. Madam Okwe, can you please go ahead?
Okay. So far, I've learned a lot. Honestly, even being a speaker, I've learned a lot from my co-speakers. And based on everything everybody has said, one thing that I'm going to tell you is that you shouldn't procrastinate, to be honest. I know some of you right now, you're like, oh, I need to finish my schooling first. I need to at least finish the 5 year mandatory training first, right? Or perhaps I need to be like 5 years into practicing law before I start to think about transitioning. So you don't have to do that, to be honest. You can start right now, go online, like John said, and even Nana mentioned, there are a lot of resources out there, free resources that you can take advantage of. Don't overwhelm yourself. That's one thing I will always tell everybody. Do not overwhelm yourself. For example, if you are learning about a topic now, you can go on YouTube, check the reviews of those videos, right? And you can pick like the three top reviewed videos, add it to your to-do list that okay, for this topic, for example, maybe data subject access request, I'm going to be watching these three videos, or oh, I'm going to check out this blog, maybe One Trust or something similar, or check out Tech Hive also. You can check out their newsletter. You can be like, oh, this is what I'll be using to learn on this particular topic, and that's it. Before you know it, you are actually a professional in this field. So thank you, and thank you for having me. I hope we all stay at the top. Bye, guys.
Yes, definitely. John, your final word in 30 seconds, please. Very short.
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity. So I'm going to say, basically, I'm going to say, gain knowledge. Just be knowledgeable in whatever you actually want to do. You don't have to start before you know. You can know before you start, and then while you have actually started, you get to know. Like Mokoye said, you keep yourself with knowledge. Go online, take courses, and don't be too afraid to ask one is into what you actually want to do. Ask the person questions and learn about what works in your country, because if you do not understand the parity systems in Nigeria and you're going out there really, I really don't know, Shabo. I feel like you should actually start from learn about our systems, learn about our laws, learn about our strategies, learn about our policies. And then over there, you realize that many of the things you learn outside are very, very similar to what you learn here. Like someone said, sorry, they said, how was the NDPR analyzed with DPR? The NDPR was actually more of, I will not say a copy, more of a derivative of the GDPR. It's that simple. So our laws actually give it a lot. Our policies give it a lot. So always gain knowledge. That's what I want to say. It will help you soon enough.
Thank, thank you, John. Nana, your final words to the participants. I
Okay,
think
my final was to anybody listening to me. Can you hear me?
yes,
Jesus. Okay, so my final words
we can
would
hear you. We
be
can hear you, Nana.
okay. I said I'll be closing with this. Start afraid. It's okay to be very, very afraid. It's okay to be uncertain. It's okay to feel lost. Now, how can you conquer all of these feelings? It's okay to even have imposter syndrome. It's okay. So, how can you conquer all of this? One of the ways to do that is to learn more, to learn more. Before I came for this section, I had to do I had to read on those questions. It's supposed to be a personal experience, right? Yet I still had to read to see if I could have better ways to answer those questions that Ola shared with me. The next thing I want to say is network. Network. I repeat, network. And that's not just on LinkedIn. That's not just online or other platforms. Do it as well. This year, most of the things I've done, I've tried to balance a lot of online offline activities because I was so focused on online my first 2 years. But this third year, I decided that I will balance it, and I got invited to speak on the stakeholder engagement that got me on Arise TV for the first time. That was because I was networking with people within my space physically. They just said, "Okay, hello, there's a stakeholder engagement going on, and you're in this space. Come and give your voice. Come and lend your voice in this." And that was how I got into that room. So network, meet people, send those DMs, send those DMs. The worst you can have is a no. Ola and I just told you about how we got rejection mails. Send those mails, send those proposals, send those DMs, network, ask for partnerships. Put yourself where you want to be. Your mind is the only place that can limit you. Like the biggest limitation can happen in your mind. And I'm sure you don't want to be the one limiting yourself. If there's anything that should limit you, it should not be yourself. So put yourself out there and work for what you want until you get it. That's what I have to say.
Thank you so much, Nana. Network,
Okay, you're
put yourself
welcome.
out there, do it afraid. Do it afraid. So that will be our last words to you for the first session. You don't want to miss the second session, you don't want to miss the third, because the sessions are actually curated as per what we feel is necessary. Is necessary. So you don't want to miss any of the session. Stay tuned on my profile. We will definitely talk about what is coming next by by this week. We'll definitely talk about it. So thank you so much, everyone, for attending and for waiting till this time. We know it took a long time, but it's because we just want you all to understand this topic. And thank you to our amazing speakers. Thank you, Nana. Thank you, Okwemi. Thank you, John. It is so brilliant and wonderful and exciting to do this with you guys. It is amazing. I don't regret writing to you, and if people are accepting to speak at my event, I really don't regret it. And I look forward to more collaborations with you because you guys are powerful. You're fire. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can you please celebrate our speakers? Celebrate our speakers. Tell us how you feel about the first session and how much you're looking forward to the second, the third, and the fourth session. Before we close, please feel free to celebrate our speakers. They've done so well. They've done so well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so on that note, I would say have a wonderful week. Don't forget to connect with our speakers, myself, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram, anywhere you find us. Don't forget to connect with us. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Motunde. It was good having you here. Please, on YouTube, please reach out to her on LinkedIn. We can't share it here. Just reach out to her on LinkedIn. She would share her contact with you. Bye, everyone.